Renegade Immortal EP83. If I'm lucky enough to escape today, I will repay you tenfold in the future. I didn't expect that crossing a major realm would still leave Brother Ma defeated. Not only was his life and death domain useless, but even his immortal sword was taken away. Picking up from where we left off, as everyone knows, in the original Renegade Immortal story, Wang Lin was heading to Vermilion Bird Mountain, but was intercepted halfway by two Yin Transformation Stage 7 experts. After all, Wang Lin was only at the nascent soul stage. How could he be a match for Yin Transformation Stage experts? Just as Li Yuanfeng was about to deliver the killing blow, his old friend, Shihu, the young master of the giant devil clan, arrived. So cool. Die! Shihu roared, a surge of spiritual energy erupting from him. However, this spiritual energy didn't carry any offensive intent. Instead, it flowed directly into Wang Lin's body. In an instant, Wang Lin's depleted spiritual energy was miraculously replenished. Then, Shihu lightly kicked Wang Lin's chest, sending his body flying. But this kick didn't contain any attack either. On the contrary, another surge of spiritual energy was infused into Wang Lin. Brother Xing, head south. There's a way out. Shihu's urgent divine sense transmission reached Wang Lin's ears. Witnessing this, Li Yuanfeng couldn't help but let out a cold snort. The giant devil clan's ancestor's face changed drastically. He lunged forward and roared, "Shihu, what are you doing?" Hearing this, Shihu flickered and blocked the giant devil clan ancestor. "Ancestor, I gave him that star compass. Xing Miao didn't steal it. I, Shihu, am honorable. Xing Miao saved me from danger many times in the immortal realm and considers me a friend. How could I do such a heartless thing?" The giant devil clan ancestor laughed in anger. He moved, attempting to bypass Shihu. But at this moment, Shihu suddenly let out an earth-shattering roar. The giant devil clan's mark on his forehead flashed. "That star compass is of no practical use to our clan. What's the harm in giving it to Xing Miao? You've already taken his flying sword, and you still don't know restraint." However, the giant devil clan ancestor just waved his hand. A mysterious force instantly bound Shihu, immobilizing him. "If it weren't for the purest giant devil blood flowing through your veins, I would not spare you, traitor, today." With that, the giant devil clan ancestor flashed and chased after Wang Lin. Zhang Xiu. "I did my best." Although Shihu knew Wang Lin's chances of survival were slim, he had no regrets for upholding righteousness. With Shihu's help, Wang Lin's spiritual energy had recovered. "If I'm lucky enough to escape today, I will repay you tenfold in the future." However, misfortune never comes singly. Li Yuanfeng streaked across the sky like lightning. "You can't escape. I'll send you to your death." As soon as he finished speaking, he raised his right hand. A faint tea fragrance seemed to completely immerse one's body and mind in the act of tea tasting. At the same time, Wang Lin's life and death cycle domain instantly appeared. But facing a Yin Transformation Stage cultivator with a near-perfected domain, it was clearly inadequate. In an instant, Wang Lin not only coughed up blood and crashed to the ground, but marks resembling tea leaf veins appeared on his face. These marks flickered, and with each flicker, Wang Lin's primordial spirit weakened. Just then, the giant devil clan ancestor arrived. He looked down at Wang Lin on the ground. "Fellow Daoistly, do it." Li Yuanfeng smiled. "You don't want to do it yourself? Are you afraid Vermilion Bird Mountain will hold you accountable?" "Afraid? I started this. I'll do it myself." With that, he pointed, about to take Wang Lin's life. But at this critical moment, a clap of thunder echoed through the sky. A purplish-black coffin descended from the heavens. Demons sealing Qiankuan formation. If I hadn't known where this formation's weakness was, it would have been quite difficult to get in. A cold snort came from the coffin. A red-robed elder stood atop the coffin. "Xing Miao, what kind of trouble have you gotten yourself into? And you two old geezers, bullying a nascent soul junior, aren't you ashamed? World Insect." Indeed, this red-robed elder was Grand Elder Sun Tai of the World Insect. Sun Tai's face was grim. After glancing at Li Yuanfeng, his gaze settled on the giant devil clan ancestor. Although the giant devil clan ancestor was only at the early Yin transformation stage, once a giant devil reached the Yin transformation stage, they would awaken their innate divine abilities, making their strength comparable to the mid-Yin transformation stage. I'm taking this person with me. Li Yuanfeng was about to speak, but Sun Tai interrupted him sharply. Get lost. You, a mere early Yin transformation stage cultivator, forcefully elevated to your current realm, dare speak here. Hearing this, Li Yuanfeng's face darkened. Since his ascension to the Yin transformation stage, he had been treated like royalty in the snowy region. Even when encountering cultivators of the same rank, no one had ever dared to speak to him like this. Once my spiritual energy is exhausted, I'll become immortal. Then, even a martial arts expert among mortals could easily take my life. Brother Ma, I am as miserable as can be this time. Not only was I sealed by Sun Tai, but my cultivation also fell from nascent soul stage to the third level of Qi condensation. Picking up from where we left off. This person must die. And his body belongs to me. You're not from my Stone Cloud sect. What use do you have for his body? I have my uses. It turns out the giant devil clan ancestor already knew Xingniu was Wang Lin. Taking back the star compass was just a cover. However, his real target was Wang Lin's heaven-defying bead. After all, the heaven-defying bead was a treasure even the Cultivation Alliance fought over. If the giant devil clan could obtain it and present it to the Cultivation Alliance, they would definitely be promoted to a level 6 cultivation fruit. So, he wouldn't allow anyone to take Wang Lin today. Sun Tai flashed and rushed towards Wang Lin. You dare? The giant devil clan ancestor swung his right fist. A black vortex shot towards Sun Tai. Seeing this, Sun Tai formed a hand seal and pointed at the coffin in midair. A dried corpse flew out and charged at the giant devil clan ancestor. Taking this opportunity, Sun Tai easily grabbed Wang Lin's weakened body. Wang Lin's eyes were closed, his face pale. He was unable to resist. Without a word, Sun Tai rushed into the crack. The giant devil clan ancestor roared. His body swelled, transforming into a 30-foot giant. He swung a giant axe. A massive axe light burst forth. Then, with the giant axe, he slashed fiercely. A giant axe blade burst forth. Sun Tai's expression changed drastically. He flashed again and rushed out of the crack. Meanwhile, the giant devil clan ancestor pursued relentlessly. Do you really think I'm afraid of you? He turned and cast a seal on Wang Lin. Then he threw him down. Wang Lin landed in the forest below. Wang Lin's body immediately fell into the forest below. Wang Lin regained consciousness the moment he landed. He sat down cross-legged, resisting Li Yuanfeng's domain and Sun Tai's seal with all his might. And Sun Tai's seal. The giant devil clan ancestor and Sun Tai were locked in a fierce battle. But as they fought, Li Yuanfeng teleported in front of Wang Lin. A sinister smile appeared on his face. He intended to take Wang Lin's life. Wang Lin was in a terrible state. His cultivation had plummeted from nascent soul to the third level of Qi condensation, and he was still losing spiritual energy. Once his spiritual energy was exhausted, he would become immortal. Then, even a martial arts expert among mortals could easily take his life. But as Li Yuanfeng was about to strike, a bolt of lightning suddenly descended from the sky. Li Yuanfeng's expression changed drastically. He retreated, but the lightning seemed to have eyes, chasing after him. In the blink of an eye, the lightning and Li Yuanfeng disappeared. Trying to claim victory right under my nose. But what Sun Tai was thinking was, this time, I must completely seal Wang Lin to prevent damage to my own primordial spirit. Let me take this person. I'll return him in 7 days. No! If someone else takes Wang Lin, it's like handing my primordial spirit over to them. You're forcing my hand. This is the first time I'm using my innate divine ability since reaching Yin transformation. The giant devil clan ancestor's veins bulged. He seemed to be in immense pain. Behind him, a giant vortex appeared. In an instant, the vortex behind him spun faster. A massive suction force erupted, but this suction didn't affect the surrounding rocks and plants. It only affected Sun Tai. A tremendous suction force. As Sun Tai's body was involuntarily pulled towards the vortex, he gritted his teeth and mobilized his immortal energy. A child's body floated out of the shattered coffin. The giant Devil Clan ancestor roared again. With his roar, the vortex spun even faster. Sun Tai screamed as he was pulled into the vortex. Holy crap! Kill him! The child opened his eyes, revealing a demonic glint. With a single step, he appeared before the giant Devil Clan ancestor. His speed surpassed even teleportation. The giant Devil Clan ancestor watched helplessly as the child's hand pressed against his chest. He couldn't resist. Instantly, a destructive force surged through him. He coughed up a mouthful of blood. His primordial spirit was forced out, his storage bag flying away. The child didn't hesitate. He flashed and chased after the giant Devil Clan ancestor's primordial spirit. Seeing this, Wang Lin breathed a sigh of relief. He struggled to his feet. He could clearly feel his cultivation weakening, his spiritual energy dwindling. Li Yuanfeng's domain and Sun Tai's seal were perfectly combined, trapping him. Wang Lin smiled bitterly. He struggled along for a while. But by the time he left the forest, the last of his spiritual energy had dissipated. Hey, mute. My dad told me to call you back for dinner. 9 years later, Wan Er will encounter the cycle of reincarnation again. Who would have thought that Wang Lin, the most handsome man in Chinese animation, would be called a mute, ugly freak? But even so, Li Muin is his only motivation to recover his cultivation. Picking up from where we left off. After Wang Lin's earth-shattering duel with Hong Dai, Xingmiu's fame grew even greater. And the magical treasures he used, whether it was the restriction treasure sword or the shooting god chariot, became the focus of discussion among most cultivators on Vermilion Bird Star. At the same time, news came from Vermilion Bird Mountain that Hong Dai would be in seclusion for 100 years. No one questioned this. After all, he had gained insights during the previous battle, so closed-door cultivation was only natural. However, after these events subsided, Xingmiu mysteriously disappeared. No one knew where he had gone. They only knew that he was on his way back to Vermilion Bird Mountain to report when he vanished without a trace. This incident immediately caused a huge uproar on Vermilion Bird Star. At that time, the elder known as Vermilion Bird on Vermilion Bird Mountain gazed towards the northernmost part of Vermilion Bird Continent. 3 days prior, he had learned that Wang Lin was seriously injured. Lu Mei, go to the northern part of Vermilion Bird Continent. Wang Lin is there. 1 month later, in a remote village in the northern part of Vermilion Bird Continent, a young man in coarse clothes sat alone on a large rock at the village entrance. However, his face was covered in alarming scars. His face was not only ugly, but his eyes were filled with confusion. When villagers passed by him, they would avoid him. The young man remained indifferent. He just sat quietly, staring blankly into the distance. Soon, a young girl in a floral blouse approached, followed by a calf-sized dirt dog. Hey, mute. My dad told me to call you back for dinner. The young man looked at the girl and stood up. Having sat for so long, his legs were numb. He almost lost his balance, annoying the girl. Mute, hurry up. I'm hungry. The girl turned and walked back to the village. The dirt dog happily ran ahead, as if clearing the way for her. Dad, I brought the mute back. So disrespectful. Call him uncle. The girl playfully stuck out her tongue and said nothing more. Young man, please don't mind her. Arya is a mischievous child. Come, let me see how your recovery is coming along. The young man extended his skeletal right arm. Your injuries are healing quite well. I'll prepare a few more doses of medicine for you, and you'll be fully recovered. The young man was silent for a moment and finally nodded. It turned out he had found this young man a month ago in the mountains while gathering herbs. The young man had been on the verge of death. Out of compassion, he had brought him home and treated him. Although the young man's injuries were severe, he did his best. Miraculously, 10 days later, the young man woke up and gradually recovered. But he had lost his ability to speak, becoming mute. Who would have thought this was the once-renowned Wang Lin of the cultivation world? And the root of all this was the joint persecution by the giant devil clan and the snowy region. Wang Lin's right hand trembled slightly. A bitter smile appeared on his face. 1 month ago, his primordial spirit had shattered into countless fragments scattered throughout his body. But fortunately, a wisp of spiritual energy released during the collapse had miraculously repaired his physical body, allowing him to barely cling to life. But now, he had completely lost his spiritual energy. He couldn't open his storage bag, and his main body in Chu country had also been affected, falling into a deep sleep. This was undoubtedly adding insult to injury. After a long while, Wang Lin sighed and quickly finished his meal. 9 years later, Wan heir will encounter the cycle of reincarnation again. 9 years. Thinking of this, Wang Lin's eyes showed determination. Time flew by. Another day arrived. As the first rays of dawn entered the woodshed, Wang Lin began to meditate. However, there was still no spiritual energy in his body to circulate. Only by forcibly absorbing spiritual energy in a place rich with it could he hope to generate a wisp of spiritual energy within himself. Just then, the girl came out of the house. "You mute, ugly freak. You've been loafing around here for a month. When are you leaving? My family doesn't have that much food to feed you." Before she could finish, a woman came out of another room. "Arya, how many times has your father told you to call him uncle? Giant devil clan of the snowy region, I, Wang Lin, will never give up. One day, I will make you pay 10 times, 100 times the price." Who would have thought that Wang Mazi, renowned throughout the Vermilion Bird Star, would have his limbs crippled and be thrown into a water prison, bound hand and foot? However, once Brother Mazi recovers his cultivation, it will be time for you all to meet your great-grandmothers. Continuing from last time, as everyone knows, in the original Renegade Immortal story, Wang Lin was not only affected by Li Yuanfeng's T domain, but was also sealed by Sun Tai. Although he was discovered by a middle-aged man collecting herbs on a mountain and taken home to be treated, due to the shattering of his nascent soul, Wang Lin could no longer use spiritual energy. Time flew by. Half a month passed. During this half-month, thanks to the middle-aged man's medicinal soups, Wang Lin's body gradually regained some strength. One late night, under the moonlight, he slowly walked out of the village. However, Wang Lin had no idea where he was. He had only one goal, to find a spiritual vein. After all, he needed spiritual energy to break the T domain that Li Yuanfeng had left in his body. But every time Wang Lin walked a certain distance, he would become breathless and have to sit down and rest. So, even after 7 days, he was still struggling along the official road. Although he had no spiritual power, his senses remained. Even along the way, he had encountered some places with spiritual energy. But no matter how he tried to cultivate, he couldn't generate any spiritual energy within his body. As he tried more and more, a sense of despair inevitably welled up in Wang Lin's heart. But this despair was quickly replaced by his determination. Giant Devil Clan. I, Wang Lin, will never give up. One day, I will make you pay 10 times, 100 times the price. Just then, the sound of urgent hoofbeats suddenly came from behind. At the same time, several black horses quickly approached. Sitting on the horses were all fierce-looking, villainously strong men. But when the group passed by Wang Lin, one of the men with a scarred face suddenly tightened the reins. Haha, what an ugly little brat. What a money tree. Haha. Saying this, he grabbed Wang Lin's clothes and lifted him up. Hey, old fourth. What are you doing? Hey, boss. I caught a money tree. Look how ugly this kid is. Break his legs and put him in front of the Tianwei escort carts to block the road. Better than using our own brothers. Ha ha ha. Wang Lin closed his eyes, filled with rage. Soon, the group of 18 stopped at a fork in the road 3 li away. Fork in the road. Then, they quickly dispersed and hid in the surrounding area. Only the scarred man remained, holding Wang Lin. Kid, consider yourself unlucky. With that, he raised his right hand and not only dislocated Wang Lin's jaw, but also shattered his leg and shoulder bones. Wang Lin stared at the scarred man, but the intense pain caused him to collapse helplessly to the ground. Time slowly passed. An hour later, a fast horse galloped over. A handsome young man reined in his horse in front of Wang Lin. "Escort leader, there's a corpse here." With that, he dismounted and kicked Wang Lin to the side of the road. The carts behind continued on. As they passed where Wang Lin had been lying, torches suddenly lit up around them. Then, loud shouts came from all directions. "Ha ha ha! Tianwei Escort Agency. Did you think I wouldn't rob you just because you took a detour?" And so, a fierce battle began. In less than half an incense stick's worth of time, most of the escort team was dead or wounded. But as they took the valuables and left, they saw Wang Lin, barely clinging to life. "Boss, this kid's still breathing. Why don't we take him with us and use him in a few days?" The burly man nodded in agreement. When the first rays of dawn appeared, the 18 men arrived at the foot of a mountain. Halfway up the mountain stood a fortress. On the gate were the 3 large characters, Firecloud Fortress. The 18 men charged in, and the fortress immediately became lively. Wang Lin was thrown into a water prison at the back of the fortress. A long time later, Wang Lin's head twitched. The pain in his limbs nearly made him faint, but he finally opened his eyes and fully regained consciousness. However, having lost his spiritual energy, Wang Lin's eyes were filled with endless despair. His arms were tightly bound with ropes, his whole body suspended and immersed in icy water. Meanwhile, above Firecloud Fortress, Lu Mei flashed past. He didn't even look down, completely unaware that the person he was looking for was in the water prison within the mountain. The Vermilion Bird Nation arc continues. Fellow Taoists, please give us a like. We'll continue the chat in the next episode.